Welcome. Hello, all you wonderful people. You look great. You look beautiful. See what I did there, Carson? I acted like I could see the people.
You're and I believed you. You're following.
That's an old podcaster's trick. I'm an old podcast. I've done this for 3 months now. So you make your audience feel like you see them, and then they feel included.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of revealing tricks of the trade, which is frowned
Yeah.
within the industry.
You know what I'm doing? I'm holding space for them
Oh,
to
that's a
see
good
it.
one. Yeah, yeah.
I literally have no idea what the hell that means. Young people say shit to me, and I'm like, okay, I do not know what you're talking about.
I didn't know that's something you could hold.
You're right. Space should be, you can't, how do you hold on to space? Anyway, here we are. All you beautiful people. I stand by it. I see you and you're beautiful.
You're doubling down.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there was a show called Romper Room. Um, this is like late 50s, early 60s. The older listeners will remember this. And it was like children's, like way before Sesame Street, it was children's show. And the idea was that the woman was like the preschool teacher, and she would look into the camera and like talk as if she could see the kids. And she would hold up this magic mirror. It had a handle but no glass. Like where the glass would be, it was just round. She'd look right in the camera, and we would see her face in the round thing, and she would go, I see Bobby, and I see Sally, and I see Mary. Like the idea being any kid out there named Mary would be like, holy shit, the teacher can see me. Oh my God. I feel so seen.
They were holding space.
You were holding space.
Yeah.
But some of us were fucked up little kids. We were paranoid. Like if they ever said, I see Kevin, I'd be like, bitch, don't be looking into my fucking liver. It's some fucking 1984 shit.
You were thinking about Orwell when you were 4?
When I was 4, I was like, listen, I could have been. What if my mom was like, "Hey, don't touch the cookies," and I'm like stealing a cookie, and then this chick goes, "I see you." I'd be like, "God damn it!"
I think you were the only 4-year-old
You
paranoid.
think so? Paranoid about being seen. Actually, your generation, that you guys wouldn't even blink. You see each other always. When you guys talk on the phone to each other, you see each other.
Yeah. That's true.
But when I was a kid, that was a hell of a thing for someone to look through the television at you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have no idea what any of this has to do with our.
No, we're just holding space for Romper Room. As many great acting podcasts would. This goes back to what we do is both the stupidest thing and also the most important thing.
It is the single most important / stupidest thing you could ever do, or a living.
Yeah.
If only we earned a living at this, Carson.
Oh yeah.
Because I am an old podcaster now. I'm a professional, which means I make no money whatsoever doing this.
The rumor is Sirius XM's going to need a new host soon, so maybe.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that. Maybe that'll be us.
Yeah.
Or we'll get a sponsor. Who the hell would sponsor this nonsense? Anyway, episode 9.1 in the ongoing saga of It's Not a Meisner podcast. Today, we wanted to talk about a very, very important aspect of acting, which is the value of crafting positive choices. Right. So, just briefly, what you're doing as an actor at home when you're preparing for a role is you're making choices. But you'd be surprised as a director how many actors I work with who make negative choices. And when we come back from our little intro here with that great music from Jean-Louis Drouet, who made a really great piece of music for us, when we come back, we will talk about positive choices. It should not be acting training, it should be actor training.
Am I a good actor?
Like me doing. It's not a Meisner podcast. What is meant by positive choices, right? It's important because a lot of people, young actors, when I talk to them about positive choices, they think I mean positive means good, and negative means bad, but not in our work. People go, well, he's a very positive person. He always sees the glass half full. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying that a positive choice is the one that encourages experience. Make a choice that puts you into the capacity of experience, but also it encourages further experience, not just the one experience, but once you make that choice, it puts you in the place where you can expand into the experience. So every next moment has you more and more present in the trajectory, right? I want our listeners and young actors to consider this. You're constantly in transition. You're never not transitioning. You're always transforming. You're moving forward. That's true as a person, right? On a molecular level, you're moving, you're always transforming. But think of it then as when you're an actor, you play a character, you're asking yourself, how is my character progressive? How are they moving forward? Sometimes they move backwards, right? Reversal of fortune kind of stuff. But they are always in motion. So the positive choice is the one. Here, let's look at it this way also. Every choice for us, for actors, is desired. Even if it's like a harsh act, people in life would go, why would I want to feel sadness or pain or, whatever? But the actor goes, no, I'm here to live through what my character lives through. And so in that sense, pain or devastation or loss or whatever, that's something to be lived through. So all experience is desired by the actor. So if that's the case, then you have to make choices that let you live in even the experience of loss. I'm going to live in this experience of failure or of a setback or something. Okay, it's up to the actor. Man, oh man, every time I've had an actor describe their objective in terms of what they don't want. It's a human thing. I'll say, what's your objective? Well, I don't want to be here. It's a very strange thing for an actor to say, oh, you don't want to be in the scene, I guess is what you're saying. Or you're saying, no, my character, the thing that's happening is not good for them, so I don't want to be. To which, of course, we would say, well, then why don't you leave? That would be a short scene. I don't want to be here, so I leave, right? Or sometimes they'll say, I'll go, what do you want? Well, I don't want my partner to be here. They are here, though. You might not want them to be here, but they are here, so what about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about the fact that they're here?
It's under that thing you said, and I think the great Deirdre Friel reminded you, but you didn't even remember it, that you said it, which is one person wants to have the scene and one person doesn't want to have the scene.
Yes. Deirdre is a former student of mine who is a great actor. We're going to get her on this damn podcast. But she also was Carson's teacher. And she reminded me, I didn't remember saying this. She's like, you could always think of it as if one character, if they knew they were in a play, the one character would be like, I don't want to be in this scene. And the other character is like, I want to be in this scene. So you can't play it like I don't want to be in the scene, but you can play it like this scene belongs to that person and I got to be here and I have to handle them in some way, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody's always driving the car.
Exactly.
And somebody is either sitting shotgun or they may be in the back seat, but they're in the frickin' car. So you got to handle it, you know? So, so, so my advice to the actor would be, how can you look at your circumstance and ask yourself, how is it that you want to be here? Even if it's negative, something in you should want to be there because you want to address it in some way, right? But let's say if you were doing an activity in Meisner class, right? You all saw the activities in the last episode. Let's say you're doing an activity and the circumstance is that your grandmother passed away. So you just lost your grandmother. And what you're doing is you're practicing a song. You're playing the guitar and singing. And you're going to sing this at the service before the funeral, before the burial, I should say. So they haven't buried her yet, but we're having a service and people are speaking, whatever, and you're going to sing this song. By the way, side note, you're not singing a song, you're singing this song. So please, actors, pin everything down, personalize it, particularize it. This is the song I'm singing. So it would be like, this is the song my grandmother used to sing to me when I was a child, and she would sing me to sleep. She would put me to sleep with this song. It would always be the last thing I heard before I fell asleep. Well, now you're singing that same song to her. You're putting her on her final rest. You're putting her to sleep, right? It's important to you. But let's say you're doing it, you're practicing it, but the emotion of it, right? You keep getting overwhelmed by how hurt and sad you are that you lost your grandmother, that you can't finish the song or you can't sing it. I, as the teacher, might say to you, what's going on here? And you might say, I don't want to do this. That's not true. What you don't want is for your grandmother to be dead. But she is. You can't change it. What you do want is to send her off in the way that you want to. And if you fuck it up and don't do it, you are going to regret. Yeah. You will have an unresolved thing in your life. They will have buried your grandmother and you didn't sing that song for her the way you wanted, which means you want to learn the song and sing the song the way you want to do it. I do want to do this. What I don't want is the sad reason why I'm doing it.
Right.
If you all think back to last episode when Camila was making that dog, that clay dog, she said her parents are getting a divorce. Now, by the way, you got to double down on this. The circumstances are imaginary.
Yeah.
Remember the definition. Doing truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So there always has to be some truth to it, though. Something has to be true. You can't act from all invention. So I might say to Camila, do you have two parents? Yeah. How do you feel about them? I love them. Are they getting a divorce? No, I made that up.
Right.
But what if they did get a divorce? And what Camila came up with was that they were going to be in separate abodes, and the mom was taking the dog, and her dad would desperately miss the dog. So Camila was making a replica of the dog for Dad. So again, you could say Camila doesn't want her parents to split, but they are. Well, how do you feel about it? Well, I feel terrible for my dad because he loves that dog and he's not going to have the dog. So this is what I'm doing about it. I want to do this thing for my dad. Okay. So you must phrase every one of your objectives as something that you want to be doing. You can't say what you don't want. You can't prove a negative. I don't want. You can't prove something that didn't happen
Yeah.
or that wouldn't happen, right? Now, the other thing I wanted to address is want versus need. Because some people will say you should craft that you need something. And I get that. It lends an urgency to it. It must get done. I need this. But believe it or not, I actually lean toward want. Because when you need something, you have no agency in it.
Mm.
It has to be done. You have no agency.
No other alternative. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you could craft negatively. The only reason I'm doing this is because it needs to be done. So there's no positivity in that choice. But if you craft that I want to do it, right? I mean, hey, you remember that movie Glory? That extraordinary film, Glory?
Yeah.
God damn those actors. Holy shit. Denzel and Morgan Freeman and Andre Blanc and so many great actors in it. They play a black regiment that's fighting for the Union side during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could say they need to fight and win the battle because if the Union loses, the entire country is going to be the Confederacy and there'll be slavery in freaking Wisconsin,
Yeah.
whatever, right? The whole country will be. So these black soldiers, you could say they need to fight and win. But if you look at that film, they want to fight and win. They want to fight. Of course, they want to win. But it's really about them testing their mettle as men.
Yeah.
And it's about them feeling like they are not second-class citizens.
Right.
And at the end, I don't want to give it away, but they're going to fight an unbelievable battle. And they could die. And yet, what a scene where they're around the fire the night before the battle. And they're testifying, and they all speak in terms of a word you love, Carson, desire.
Yeah, yeah.
They speak of their desire to test their mettle as men and as warriors, A ton of positive choices around a circumstance of, dude, you might die tomorrow.
Yep.
They don't want to die, but they want to be in the situation where it could come out that way.
Yep.
All right. So that's the issue of any. Go ahead.
Well, just think about the title of that film, Glory.
Glory.
That's more than, it's not called survival.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even called winning.
All right.
It's not even about winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, this could go down a whole separate avenue here, but I think it's really important for especially modern actors or young actors studying. You said, Kevin, earlier that it's making positive choices, making a choice that puts you into the capacity of experience, right? And there's so many distractions for young people now that I think there's people who don't even know that they are distracting themselves from experience. It's like what Tom about, like 10% of your mind is running some Instagram loop or whatever, it's like that. Some people you don't even realize it. I mean, I do it sometimes. You don't even realize that you're not truly taking in the thing that just happened that could make you angry or even happy or sad or whatever, because you're oh, that email's there, I need to pick that up on my phone. I'm walking down the street and it's a beautiful day, but I just got a ding and I should check that.
Oh my God.
Really living in that moment, that's not a positive choice. And you have to practice that. My point is that you have to practice that in your own life before you can ever expect yourself to have the capacity to do it on stage.
No, that's a really good point. These days, young people have it extra hard because of all the distraction. Well, listen, man, you read that Stanislavski quote a couple of sessions ago about where Stanislavski said, in life, something always takes your attention.
Yeah.
And then he says, but conditions in the theater are such that it becomes necessary for the actor to make an effort to put their attention on something.
Yeah.
Now, what he means what he's saying is conditions in the theater are such that people are watching you,
Yeah.
so you can get distracted. Or you could easily jump in your head and go, this isn't real. Well, it's your job to make it a reality and
Hmm.
to live truthfully in it. So that's a really good point you bring up, because here's Stanislavski saying things in life call your attention to them. But you're saying, well, in modern life, too many things call your attention.
Yeah.
And what you're really doing there is setting yourself up to be distracted. It's like, yes, I said before that a positive choice is the one that gives you the best opportunity, potential for experience. But unconsciously, we put ourselves in a place to reject experience, deny experience, avoid experience.
Yeah.
But actors are the ones that run toward experience. We keep saying that. And you have to embrace that.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, just the word objective, right? We've been throwing that around a little bit. I mean, most actors know that your character's playing an objective. But I would want our actors to raise their objective in this way. You ask yourself, what do I want to get from my partner as a result of what I'm doing?
Mm.
And the other way to look at it is, what do I want my partner to do as a result of what I'm doing? Now, I think somewhere down the line, you and I will have an episode where we talk about objectives, actions and objectives. Okay. But for now, I think it's enough to say this might help me with my positive choices. What do I want them to do? How am I doing? Remember, Stephen Adligirga said, if I can get my partner to come alive with something, so here I am doing something to, for, and off them in order to get something back.
Right.
All right. Or to get them to do something. Right. So to wrap up this section, I am surprised how often actors will make a choice unwittingly that removes them from contact with the environment or their partner. So let's say you and I are in a scene and I'm making a ton of choices that remove me from being in contact with you, right? For those of you who are new to all of this, when you've seen our demonstrations on repetition, we call that contact.
Mm-hmm.
The connection you have to your partner. You're in contact with them. Actors will sometimes make a choice to remove. I always say to them, that's a curious choice for an actor to make, to remove yourself from the opportunity of contact with your partner. You know? Well, I don't want blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Well, it's harder.
Um,
It makes it genuinely harder. And that's kind of the funny part. And I'm speaking from experience on that. It's harder to act when you're trying to self-generate behavior or emotion. When it's all right in front of you and you can experience it all right there. Then you're not having to act. You just live.
what's wrong with grabbing that gift?
Yeah.
The gift of your partner's behavior toward you. But yeah, you're right. It's harder to self-generate and act something or pretend something.
Yeah.
The thing about crafting, again, what we call crafting, I guess we have to have an episode about crafting at some point in Carson, because we keep using the term crafting, but we haven't defined it yet. But really what it is, of course, is making choices. Young actors will pile on the choices because they think it makes it more um, intense.
Mm.
They'll be like, my my dog ran away and my parents are getting a divorce. When you go, what's wrong with one or the other?
Yeah.
So like, they go, but do you see how? Here's the thing. They go, I'll say to them, what's going on there? And they'll say to me, well, it's complicated. And I'm like, no, it's not complicated. It may be complex, but it's not complicated. It should be simple. And it sure as fuck should not be convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you throw at it, and this, and also this, They go, you see how
Well, that implies,
convoluted, how complex this all is? Go ahead, what you
yeah,
say?
that implies that your dog running away isn't enough.
I know.
It implies that it's not that's not really devastating. It needs to be more devastating. It's like live in, just sit in that, and I promise
Yeah.
you, it'll
Yeah.
it'll all do its own work.
It'll do its own work. And also, this other devastating thing.
Yeah.
But isn't that funny, Carson? Because the person unwittingly might not believe in their crafting of their dog running away. So
Yeah.
maybe if they sat with it and it didn't take, then they shouldn't craft that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about when you're crafting activities. When you're working on a play, you would find an as if for those meanings. So your as if might be, well, it's as if my dog ran away. Then you sit with that and it doesn't take, then you go, I better find another as if.
Yeah.
But if you go, well, this is as if my dog ran away and my parents are getting divorced, you're like, man, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
They're going to cancel each other out. It doesn't make it more, it doesn't make it more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, makes it convoluted. Not a good idea. All right. Trust that one simple thing that has meaning will take care of it. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is this notion that you and I address quite a bit, which is that a character is sometimes the character is not the journey of the. I'm sorry, I'm going to start this whole thing again. The journey of the character is not that a bunch of things get thrown on top of them. Quite often, the journey is they start with a bunch of things on them, and the journey is losing those things until you're left with who you were originally.
Mm.
Right? Roger Ebert, the film critic,
Yeah.
I read, he said the most brilliant thing. He was talking about all the iterations of A Christmas Carol and all the actors who have played Scrooge. And he said he never believes when a dramatic actor plays Scrooge because for 90% of the film, that the character is a curmudgeon and bah humbug and all that stuff. And it works because the dramatic actors, like, have fun. You go, holy shit. But when they have their conversion and they're skipping down the street laughing, Roger Ebert said, I never believe it because that dramatic actor doesn't have in them the true warmth and joy of Christmas or whatever. But he said the best actor to have ever played Scrooge was Alistair Sim, who was a Scottish actor, and he did it in like the 30s or the 40s or something. He was a comedic actor. He was mostly known as a comedic actor, but he could do drama. So think of uh, Jim Carrey or Robin Williams. Like when they commit themselves to, they can find their way in, and they're very moving, and you know. So this was like that. So when he played Scrooge throughout it, he was that horrible, grumpy guy. But after he woke from his dream and he was skipping down the street, that Scrooge was genuinely walking on air, right? What's the theory behind this? Ebenezer Scrooge wasn't always this grumpy curmudgeon. If you remember in the source material, he had a fiance.
Mm.
Her name is Belle or something. One of those Dickens kind of 1800s kind of. I think it is Belle, actually. I'm laughing, but I think it is. But what happened in that backstory is he loved her, was the fiance. They were going to get married, but he started to be concerned about the money that it'll take to be married. And that's when his concern for wealth kind of took over. And his fiance got upset and said, I'm afraid you're starting to love money more than you love me. And she left him. So when Alistair Sim is dancing down the street, we're looking at who Scrooge was before the fucking movie started.
Yeah.
He was a guy who loved Christmas and loved his fiance and actually was a pleasant dude. When we check in on him, bah humbug, he hates Christmas, etc. What we're looking at is a guy who is losing the stuff that covered up who he actually is
Mm,
slash was.
right.
Okay. So I would say to many actors out there, can you see your character and ask yourself if they are actually the result of a thing they have become rather than who they actually are. Right. Remember, I used to say to you, unless you're playing Jesus Christ or Forrest Gump, you are out of adjustment. Right.
Absolutely.
Forrest Gump goes up to the president of the United States and says, "I have to pee." Like whatever he just says, what's happening in the he is who he is without any convolution, you know. So, can you play a character? Can you find in your character who they were before we checked in with them, and they are who they are because they put this armor on themselves or whatever? And
Right.
if that's true, then you can find their vulnerability.
Mm,
Because in this case, Alistair Sim, Scrooge is not a hateful guy. He's a hurt guy.
right.
The guy's been hurt, and then he put an armor on himself, you know.
Exactly. Well, and that speaks to that your character starts before you ever see them.
Well, every today's the day you and I are making a list of podcasts we're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we should do a podcast on how a play or a movie is a unit of measurement. We're only checking in with the characters when we check in, but they've lived their life up until then. And unless they die at the end, which let's face it, sometimes your character dies at the end.
Sure.
When the curtain comes down, you're going to keep going. So we're only looking at you from this block of time, you
Mm.
know, from when it starts to when it ends. And who were you before that? And who might you be after it?
Well, I mean, talking about, I'll make this quick, but like talk about positive choices. There's this story about Uta Hagen, and I know we're Meisner podcast, but
No, we're not a Meisner podcast.
exactly. There's this story about Uta Hagen. She would have like journals and journals and journals of just daydreamt history for her character, right? And there's this one story that like someone was looking through the journal, and there was like this one thing about when this character was 4, she jumped in a puddle or something, I don't know. And they asked Uda about it. She's like, well, because that helped me think of that time I jumped in the puddle, and in this scene I had to pour water in a teacup, and it reminded me of that puddle. And it may not bring anything alive to me, but I just wanted to have the opportunity for it. I mean, talk about a positive choice, like opening yourself up to experience. That's a lot.
That's but I also love that she said it might
Right.
trigger an experience.
Yeah,
You leave it alone.
I'm
But
paraphrasing.
you do all that homework. But you do all that homework just so that you can be a person who lived a complex life up until now.
Yeah.
It's great. It brings us to one of our most ubiquitous ideas about crafting, which is the old 90-10, right? We say, I had a teacher once who said to me, Shakespeare's characters, they're so complex, right? And then she said, not really. They're 90% one thing and 10% the exact opposite of that thing. It creates the illusion of complexity, right?
Mm.
Hamlet, he's 90% a guy who's inactive. He thinks through everything. He's always considering. He doesn't do anything, right? But then he hears a noise behind a tapestry and he runs his sword through it. That's pretty rash. Then he goes, gee, I hope that was the king. Of course, it's Polonius, right? So 90% a thinker and then 10%, no, he could be pretty freaking rash.
Yeah.
Othello, 90% a warrior, an alpha male, a leader of men, 10% an insecure little guy who's, you know, concerned that his wife is having an affair with Michael Cassius, you know? Cassio?
Cassio. Yeah.
Michael Cassio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 90% a man's man, but 10% he's like, oh no, what if I'm not enough to. But so it's a great way to look at any character
Absolutely.
because it lets you play the most of a thing. 90% is not the most, but you know what I mean. Essentially, you go, I can make all my choices because my character is this, but I leave 10%. But what's interesting about it is, first of all, it's not 50-50. It's 90-10. Also, it's not 90% one thing and 10% another thing. It's 10% the exact opposite of that thing. And the complexity of that is because everybody is like that. People do shit, quote unquote, out of character all the time. They go, that's out of character. I didn't see that coming. Nobody is who you think they are, or at the very least, they have the capacity for something else, right?
Mm.
I mean, you guys might not remember this, your generation, but my generation would go, oh, that O.J. Simpson, what a hero. He was a great, great athlete. Plus, he was really, really warm and pleasant and kind of charming in a bunch of commercials. And he was in that funny police squad movie or whatever. He couldn't commit a double murder. Not that guy. Everybody has the capacity. You don't. Nobody can know anybody else.
Right.
So you might as well look at your character and go, here are the positive choices I can make. I can do that thing that's out of character, and I don't have to go searching for it. I layer it in there. It's already in there. Right? So we will often talk about the thing and the thing that you put on top of that thing.
Mm.
Right? So is it the 90 or the 10? That's up to you. Which 90 you want it to be, or which 10 do you want it to be?
Mm.
But complex acting is you find the essential thing, the thing, and then you put something on top of that thing. And it lets you, both of those things are alive in you.
Yeah.
Right? It really brings me to my least favorite thing that an actor can say. My character wouldn't do that. Oh, boy. The worst. My character wouldn't do that. But on the page, your character did it. You can't say my character wouldn't do that. Hamlet takes out his sword and runs it through. You go, Hamlet wouldn't do that. He'd think about it first. No, he does it, according to the playwright.
Yeah. Yeah.
My character wouldn't do that. So every time I'm in rehearsal with an actor and we're teasing out behavior, and they go, well, no, my character, that's against they would never do that. I'm like, never?
Is that a stand-in for I wouldn't do that? Or is that a stand-in for I don't want to get that vulnerable or take that risk?
Ooh, what an interesting question. Well, I think when I'm working with a hard-headed actor who's kind of egocentric and thinks they know everything, they're saying, I know this character, I'm the one playing it, and they wouldn't. What you're telling me goes against my analysis of this character.
Mm.
There is that. But man, oh man, I never thought of this. Might they be saying, I don't want to do that vulnerable choice?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they craft their characters invulnerable. It's like, wait, which one of you has armor on, the character or the actor?
Right. Right.
That's a very interesting point you bring up, Carson. I don't know. Now as a director, I got to look out for it. I may need to look at that actor and go, are you resisting this possibility because you yourself don't want to go there, you know?
Right.
By the way, I use the word possibility. As a director, I'm not prescriptive. I'm not saying, do this. I'm saying, is it possible?
Yeah.
Could we find this behavior that seems at odds with what you've been doing up until now? Yeah, I just always want an actor in rehearsal to be open and available to opportunity and possibility, you know. And you don't have to say yes to everything, by the way. I would want you to try it and then go, yeah, that didn't work. But to be like, I'm not even going to try that because I know it's a waste of time. Maybe it is a waste of time, except for that one little thing you got out of it.
Right.
And my rehearsals are famous for going down the wrong alley. We go all the way down, and then there's a brick wall at the end of it. But when we went down there, we found that one little thing on the way, and we go, well, it's not that, but it is. Let's use this little thing.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere else in the production or something.
Well, that speaks to the value of not only in rehearsal, but in like what you intake in terms of art or whatnot. Like you go to, it's really hard especially as a young actor to go to a play or watch a film and explain why you thought it was bad.
Oh,
Like it's really difficult to put that into words. It's really easy to say, oh, that person was great. I really liked that moment. And then it's really easy to say, oh, I didn't like that. That was terrible. Why? Well, it just wasn't for me. That's not an answer. Like why was that actor's performance not good? And there's real value in addressing that and putting words to it. Same thing in rehearsal. You go down and find the brick wall, but a broke clock is right twice a day. But you have to articulate that, and that's a skill,
yes.
you know.
Oh no, it's a well, I almost said that it's an imperative skill, but it's not because I'm going to tease something. Our next episode, we have a guest we have a discussion with, and they were very, very funny about saying, I don't know how I do what I do. So maybe they can't articulate it, but they are doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
They have a plan, they have a technique, they just don't articulate it. They are a very good actor, but they might not be able to say out loud what they do and how they do it. But I agree with you for the most part. There's always an outlier. For the most part, it's a it's a nice skill to be able to know, to be able to articulate what is working for you and what is not.
yeah,
Uh, because then the next time you're in a process, you get to rely on, you go, okay, I've already done this. So I can start from that place.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, some of the best scenes from like that I've ever seen on stage were in like the worst play.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
amazing.
you have
Wait, do you mean the play is bad or the production?
your production. Yeah, there's
Okay,
different.
so
Yeah, yeah,
there's a difference. But the production's bad, but then one scene would be amazing.
yeah, yeah. And I that makes total sense.
It does actually, because it means they figured something. They stumbled at something,
Yeah, yeah,
and they didn't do it for the rest of the production. But that was the one they were most, they were just most solid on that.
yeah.
That's great. Um, Here's another little uh, idea that we wanted to share with you that could help with positive choices. This comes from Michael Chekhov, and the idea is that the actor or a person, you can break that entity into three spheres: the sphere of the intellect, right, which is the brain, rational, logical; the sphere of the body, right, the physical; and the sphere of the emotional, spiritual, right. So in that sense, every character has thinker, feeler, doer within them. So when you're crafting, you don't go, my character's a thinker. No, your character's got in them thinker, feeler, doer. Your job is to find the hierarchy. Your job is to find the the thing they essentially are, and then the next and that. So Hamlet, thinker, feeler, doer, probably
Right.
sits around, thinks about it, feels pretty much, hates uh, Claudius. I'm having trouble with Shakespeare names today.
Yeah, yeah. His uncle. Yeah.
His uncle hates his uncle, loves his father, hates his mother, loves Ophelia. You know what I mean? He's a feeler, feeler, feeler. And he's a doer last, right?
Right.
That goes back to our 90-10. 10% of them might do something.
Yeah.
Even when he's doing something, and then he talks himself out of it by
Yeah.
thinking. right? He's about to kill Claudius while he's praying. Then he changes his mind. Oh, I don't want to kill him while he's praying. He'll go to heaven, right? Thinker, feeler, doer. But you could do that with any, I can't do this, Carson, because I don't know any cultural references like Harry Potter. I bet everybody knows Harry Potter. I have never watched a frame of a Harry Potter film. I've never read a sentence of a Harry Potter book. I don't know anything about it. But I bet you could, like, if everybody at home was thinking Harry Potter, what would the order of it be?
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Do you have one, Carson? Because I can't even guess.
I
Do you
I
Harry
never
Potter?
no. I,
You're you.
I watched the movies like a year ago. I was
Well, then let's make it a homework assignment for people listening.
yeah,
Consider characters from movies or plays or television that you know,
right.
and do that with them.
Mm.
11 from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I think she's a feeler,
And then a doer?
doer, maybe, and then a thinker. I'm not sure. But isn't that fun? Because what an enigmatic character.
Right, right, right.
Oh, and by the way, it could change too. It could switch around.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, there's an episode where she just clocks this kid at the roller rink.
Yeah.
She was feeling deep jealousy. She was feeling deep hurt and jealousy. So she wasn't a thinker in that moment.
Yeah. She did
Right.
that thing. Yeah.
So I do think essentially the character is 1, 2, 3. But in a scene, you might go, "Oh no, man, this got flipped here."
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um. So this brings me to the last thing I wanted to talk about, which it comes from Aristotle, and it's not about theater or act. Aristotle wrote a lot about theater. Some of the first writings we have about how the value of theater and how to analyze it, et cetera, et cetera.
Poetic.
This is, yeah, the poetics, but this is not that. This is not him talking about theater. This is his philosophy of life. And he's essentially saying that the value in life is happiness, right? To be happy. Everybody wants to be happy, but it's a bit of a general word, right? And I've seen the Greek word translated to flourish. That is a great word, to flourish.
Mm.
That's what we all want. We want to flourish. Now, whenever when I'm working with actors and they are identifying their super objective, it's the super objective of the play that they're in. As we said before, starts here and it ends here. What do you want within that time frame? Super objective, right? But then I encourage them to consider the bigger picture of your life before the curtain went up and possibly your life after. What would it look like for you to flourish? Meaning, if all your ducks lined up in a row, if you got everything that you valued, what would it look like for you to flourish? Because then you can analyze the play in response to that. How far away from flourishing am I? Or how close to it am I? Is this my ideal? And so your super objective and your flourish, maybe they could be two different things,
Yeah.
because I don't know, I'm going to make something up. Let's say if you're in a play where you're being held back for race because of racism or prejudice or something.
Mm-hmm.
In the play, your super objective might be to be, to get that job that they're not giving you, or bigger, to be seen as an equal, to get equity or something, But what does it look like to flourish? To flourish means I live in a world where it's not even a concern. I see a world. The utopia that I want to live in is a world where none of these issues even come up. I would flourish if I could just walk down the street and be treated with the same dignity and respect, whatever, that everybody is.
Right.
It's just a more positive. It's a fuller You could even say, and this is dangerous for an actor, but I know everyone knows what I mean. It's more poetic because it covers a metaphor maybe, or it covers something bigger than just your dreary life. Gee, I hope I can get that job. Okay.
Yeah.
But if your idea of flourishing is, I see an ideal world, well, the moment to moment business of the play, you, you're not exactly, how far away from that are you?
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? I don't know if that'll help actors. It is something that when I talk to actors about it, I do see them light up sometimes. They're like, oh, fuck, how great is it to see something more universal or more ideal or whatever, and then plant yourself in the world of the play you're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So to wrap all this up, I just want to go on record as saying that the one of the most valuable things I would want an actor to understand is that the the actors, the players, are in complete and total collaboration in order to create characters who are in conflict, right?
Right.
So when you're making these positive choices, the whole thing is flowering open. Everybody's making these choices that have infinite possibility and potential. Yeah. But what you're really doing is collaborating with your partner. If I make this choice, how does it help for that person who can then make their choice? And what you're doing with the director is you're creating the illusion of conflict.
Yeah.
The characters are in conflict, but the actors can't be. You can't be fighting your fellow actor up there. Well, I'm creating conflict. No, you're being a dick. There's a difference,
Yeah.
you know? You're just being difficult. How about we all work together, and what we do is we create the fullest version of this human experience that we then serve to the audience as a gift for them, you know? You have anything to add before we
Well, no, I just think it circles back to, well, my character would never do that
yeah.
because the director giving you a note or an idea, it's all in service to the entire whole. Like it's
Yeah.
not your play, it's the play. It's
Yeah.
like and Chekhov talked about that, the sense of the whole. You have to have
Absolutely.
that. Like you're just a part of the machine, you
Right.
know. And in
Yeah.
life too.
Yeah. In those four things that Chekhov talks about, a sense of truth, a sense of ease, a sense of
Beauty.
beauty, thank you, and a sense of the whole. The last thing to come is that sense of the whole, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 9.1.
Yeah. And next week we'll have a very, very special guest. So stay tuned for that.
A very special guest. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
We can see you. Don't forget that we see you.